coffee, and it's become quite the production. I usually start off with my Starbucks espresso roast, and I add in about 1/2 of a scoop of Quest protein powder. Love this salted caramel flavor. And then I add in my Keto collagen from Perfect Keto, MCT oil powder from Perfect Keto. And actually, before I do any of that, I actually kind of scoop out some of this coconut oil and start with that. And in between each, I do real vigorous stirring. And this is one of my first keto purchases tool-wise. Just a little immersion frother blender to help me mix those up. Another thing sometimes I'll use is some ground cinnamon, just sprinkle that in. Some other options for your coffee and kind of go-to for rocket fuel lattes would be heavy whipping cream. Kerrygold butter is really good in your coffee. And for that sweet taste, I know right at the beginning I used to use this a lot. I haven't used it as much lately, but stevia or stevia, you'll hear it pronounced both ways. And there's different versions that are flavored. Here's a vanilla, and here's a caramel. And different recipes sometimes call for those. I got all 3 of these, I think, at HEB or at Walmart. One of my favorite basics, usually my rocket fuel latte or my fatty coffee will sustain me through until anywhere between noon and 1 o'clock. But if I'm wanting some eggs, that'd be a good staple to go with. There's some uncured bacon, no antibiotics from HEB, good stuff. And you could use that fat that you cook this down, that renders off of it for cooking other things up. So definitely a staple. Here's my Kerrygold section. So Kerrygold butter is awesome, grass-fed cows, and they even have a cheese line. This is one of my favorites. This is their aged cheddar, super good. Another great thing about adding fats is you get to have some really good mayos. So this one, my dad actually brought over during the holidays a Chipotle Gourmets. It's actually pretty spicy, and I love spicy. Something that my kids really love is this avocado oil mayo. I love it too, great stuff. Something that, depending on your sensitivities, nut butter, especially peanut butter, peanuts are actually a no-go in keto for those that are the keto police, but it actually has been a staple of mine. This one does contain a bit of sugar, but the numbers are pretty good. This definitely is minimal, but I love it, so I haven't been able to keep it out of my diet. Usually I'll use it and I'll dip some celery sticks in. It's a real easy, quick lunch. I actually will stay, for most of my lunches, stay at my classroom and just quickly eat and get back to it as much work as I can. In the veggie realm, definitely baby spinach. I prefer arugula, but others in my house don't like arugula as much. So avocados, I've got a part of one in here. Yep, avocados are huge. And something I just recently found out that I love are Brussels sprouts. They're stinky, but they're yummy. Another big thing that I love to do when I'm just needing a little bit more salt, or I'm not really hungry, but I do want something, I'll take one of these bouillon cubes and some hot water. Sometimes I'll add even a little bit more salt, but that's a good broth. Another great thing is bone broth. This is one that you can get at the store. I prefer to make my own in either my crock pot or my Instant Pot, but for a quick 1 serving or 2 serving portion, this does the trick. Pork rinds, they are great at bridging that gap of when you want something chip-like. They are fantastic. HEB has some great flavors. My favorite is this chili lime, and they also have a salt and vinegar that I like. Macadamia nuts, another huge favorite of mine, must get. Another thing that I like that just recently found are these cheese wisps. Pieces of cooked cheese. You can easily do this yourself. I just don't want to, so I'd rather buy it. And I love almonds. You got to be careful with these because they are very calorically dense, but just love almonds, and my hubby loves them too. So this one actually does have a little bit of carbohydrates in it, but still they're really good, high in fiber. And then at the end of the day, if I'm wanting a treat, this is my treat section. At the beginning of starting keto, for a chocolatey or sweet treat, I would take heavy whipping cream, some Hershey's cocoa, which is 100% cacao powder, and a little bit of stevia and some ice, and just stir that up in a cup and drink that almost like a little milkshake. Super good. Haven't really done that in a while, but something I have done once is kind of do that same thing in a pudding form. I use these chia seeds, and that was actually pretty good. A staple for me, again with the keto police, this might not be the best thing because there is sugar in them, but these dark chocolate chips, I'll grab a few of these at night, and that really I think they have a good source of magnesium in them, but just does hit the spot. And then lastly, my wine. I like Sauvignon Blanc, and it's one of the driest wines, so I just knew, nope, this is for me. The dry wines, both red and white, are the least caloric and have the least amount of sugars in them, so the least amount of carbs. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope this helps you kind of find some foods that might work for you. These are some of my staples, and I'll see you next time. Bye.